to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. Here you can let your mind float on quiet rivers of thought, gently guided by a warm, comforting current. As you settle in, feel the weight of any lingering worries melt into the background. You have come here seeking rest, a gentle sojourn from the day's activities. And in the soft glow of this peaceful space, you will find it. Tonight's tale brings you into a world of old stone cottages, snow-dappled paths, and the gentle chime of moonlit bells echoing under starlight, all woven together with holly wreaths and the warm flicker of a fireside glow. Take a long, slow breath in, drawing in tranquility and calm. As you exhale, let your muscles relax. Notice the softness in your cheeks, the looseness of your shoulders, and a gentle warmth settling in your chest. Breathe again, in and out. With each breath, imagine yourself sinking deeper into your comfortable place, as if you are gently floating down a cushiony current of peace. This is a moment just for you. In the gentle hush of this introduction, you are free to slip into stillness. Now picture a path of glimmering lanterns leading you through a quiet wood. A cool breeze carries the faint sound of distant chimes, as though tiny bells are singing a lullaby from far away. Branches overhead filter moonlight, creating a soft pattern on the snow below, silver upon white, flickering like timid stars. Take another breath and feel your attention drifting, shifting from everyday thoughts to the hush of a snowy winter night. Let yourself trust this gentle guidance, knowing that each new breath will lead you further into rest. Transitioning now into the story, we will follow a tender sequence of events that unfolds beneath frosted evergreens and in front of a warm fireside glow. The moonlit bells in the distance will guide our characters, and the holly wreaths they carry will symbolize hope for the quiet season. You are free to settle in, to soften your gaze, and to let the gentle narrative flow around you, carrying you toward a place of deep and soothing slumber. On the outskirts of a small village cloaked in fresh snow, one cottage stood quietly among slender pines. It had been there for generations, its stone walls a testament to the sturdy skill of the original builders. Inside, a hearth glowed with flickering embers, inviting warmth to any passerby who needed shelter from the cool night. Within this comfortable dwelling lived a gentle soul named Wren. Under the soft lamplight and surrounded by evergreen garlands, Wren prepared for a long evening. Each year, as winter painted the landscape a glistening white, Wren found solace in simple, peaceful rituals. With a steady hand, they hung small, polished bells around the edges of the windows, each bell shaped like a teardrop and adorned with tiny moon and star etchings. These bells were rarely rung by hand. Instead, they caught the drifting breezes at night creating a soft lullaby under the moon's watchful gaze. Wren's cottage was nestled beneath tall pine boughs that often bent under the weight of snow. A narrow path made its way from the cottage door to the main road, and on certain nights, starlight revealed footprints leading away into the forest. The footprints often belonged to Wren, who would venture out when the moon was high, seeking connection with the silent wonder of the frosted woods. But tonight, Wren felt content to remain indoors, softly tending the fire and arranging sprigs of holly around a freshly woven wreath. The wreath itself told a story. Its glossy leaves and bright red berries were twined together from branches gathered during a calm afternoon. No harsh wind nor frantic rush accompanied the act of gathering the greens. Instead, Wren had carefully meandered through the forest, breathing in the clear air and selecting only what was needed to create something beautiful and meaningful. Now the wreath lay on the wooden table by the window. Each time Wren turned it gently to weave another sprig, the moonlight caught on the bells hanging outside, producing a muted shimmer that seemed to echo the hush of a winter night. Wren found serenity in these small tasks. For many seasons, the bells and wreaths had been part of an old tradition passed down quietly through stories and songs. The tradition was said to welcome good fortune for all who entered the cottage, a gentle wish for warmth and comfort through the coldest months. Tonight, as the bells sang in the breeze and the holly leaves rustled softly in Wren's careful hands, that sense of gentle magic filled the room. Past the wooded area and along the lane, villagers recognized Wren's cottage by the subtle glow of candles in the windows. Rumor had it that if one walked near that place when the moon was bright, they would catch the sweet chime of midnight bells. So gentle and distant it seemed only a dream. But Wren's generosity was known beyond the faint music. Each day, if travelers needed rest or sustenance, they would find a bowl of warm soup and a friendly smile waiting for them there. In return, they often shared stories or simple acts of kindness, such as chopping firewood or sweeping the snow from the doorstep. That same evening, a visitor named Isadora passed through the village. She was traveling on foot, carrying a worn leather satchel, and her cheeks were rosy from the brisk air. The journey had been long and mostly silent, with only the crunch of fresh snow underfoot to keep her company. Guided by kind hints and fleeting stories from other travelers, Isadora found her way to Wren's cottage. A gentle glow of lamplight shone through frosted window panes, drawing her forward like a beacon of welcome. When Isadora arrived, the fresh snow muffled her footsteps, but the soft tinkling of the bells announced her presence. Wren glanced up from the hearth, and though the night was cold, a warm smile lit Wren's face. With quiet hospitality, Wren ushered Isadora inside. She shed her cloak, folding it over a wooden chair by the fire, grateful for the heat that began to thaw her chilled hands. Wren offered her a seat near the flames, along with a simple cup of tea infused with cinnamon and sweet herbs. The aromatic steam rose gently, curling around Isadora's nose, comforting and familiar. She inhaled the calming scent and sensed the tension from her travels easing. The two exchanged kind words, the warm reflection of the fire dancing across their faces. Occasionally, Wren's attention drifted to the wreath on the table, ensuring each berry was placed in just the right spot. Curiosity eventually found a voice in Isadora's gentle questions. She admired the holly and the shimmer of the bells, which seemed to keep a hush over the place, enveloping it in an almost enchanted stillness. Wren spoke quietly of tradition and memory, explaining how these decorative pieces once belonged to an old ceremony in the area, an annual reflection that celebrated the quiet renewal of winter's night. The bells, Wren said, were tuned to catch the softest breezes, their tones so subtle that they often blended with the forest's own gentle music of creaking pines and sighing branches. The holly wreath served as a living, evergreen reminder of resilience and life during a seemingly dormant season. While Wren explained, Isadora's thoughts drifted to distant memories of her own home. She recalled how her mother used to hang brass bells in the hallway, and how the faintest movement would set them chiming. She remembered weaving holly wreaths to place on the mantel, the prickly leaves demanding a careful touch. The recollections felt both distant and strangely comforting. She listened as Wren spoke of the power of small tokens, an offering of peace to anyone who needed it, an invitation to calm. As the night progressed, a gentle drowsiness began to fill the cottage. The flickering shadows on the walls grew longer, weaving in and out of the corners like warm, velvety ghosts. The wind outside picked up, causing the bells to jingle faintly in response. Sometimes the wind gusted stronger, eliciting a quick chorus of chimes before subsiding into quiet again. The effect was hypnotic, as though the cottage itself were breathing in time with nature's lullaby. Wren stoked the fire, adding a log that crackled and sent a cascade of soft golden sparks swirling up the chimney. The holly wreath glowed in the shifting light, each leaf reflecting a spot of brightness. Isadora, wrapped in a knitted shawl borrowed from a basket near the hearth, felt her eyelids grow heavy. Yet she was curious about the tradition and reluctant to let sleep claim her before she could hear more of the story behind it. So Wren told her about the first time they encountered these bells, many years ago, during a night much like this one. Snow had fallen steadily, and the world seemed hushed in a pristine blanket. Wren's grandmother had guided them outside to tie small bells to branches in a moonlit clearing. With each gentle movement of the air, the bells sang out a soft chorus, as if calling the stars themselves to gather in that magical glen. Over time, Wren came to understand that the bells were believed to invite blessings into one's home, not through loud announcements, but through soft, persistent whispers of gratitude. That same spirit of warmth and appreciation was woven into the holly wreath. Its evergreen nature represented the promise of life, even when all around was cold and still. Bright red berries, like cheery winter jewels, spoke of joy in the darkest months, a reminder that all seasons would eventually turn, bringing renewal and growth. Isadora found her heart warmed by these tales, touched by the gentle reverence that imbued every practice. She could feel the sincerity in Wren's voice, that quiet devotion to preserving something tender and hopeful passed down through the gentle hum of ancestral lore. When Wren finished speaking, silence settled in the cottage. It wasn't an awkward silence, but rather the kind that comes when words have been honored and appreciated. Outside, the night deepened. The moon rose higher, draping the snow-covered landscape in silver. No urgent business beckoned either Wren or Isadora away from this cozy haven. A sense of timelessness embraced them, and the hush of winter seemed to unite their spirits in a soft, shared moment. Eventually, the two let conversation lull, choosing instead to listen to the crackling fire and the melodic whispers of the bells. Though Isadora intended to continue her journey the next day, she allowed herself to be guided to a small guest bed tucked away in an alcove. A simple mattress, covered by a thick quilt, offered softness and warmth against the chill air. She felt her limbs sink into the comfort of the bed, lulled by the gentle crackle and glow that still emanated from the hearth. By the window, a single candle flickered, illuminating the holly wreath resting on a side table. Tired yet calm, she closed her eyes, finding that the dancing shadows and distant chimes carried her gently into the first realms of sleep. At dawn, a new hush settled over the land. Pale light filtered through the frost-laced panes, and the snow crystals outside glimmered with pastel tints of sunrise. Wren had risen early, as always, to prepare a comforting porridge. The morning was slow and unhurried. Occasionally, a gentle breeze stirred the bells, reminding anyone who might be listening that day and night were but different shades of the same peaceful tapestry. Isadora emerged from her slumber with a renewed sense of quiet wonder. She joined Wren at the table where a simple meal was laid out. Warm porridge, a bowl of berries, and a pot of tea greeted her with a gentle invitation to begin the day in gratitude. As they ate, the two companions spoke in hushed tones, the morning stillness encouraging calm reflection more than animated chatter. Perhaps the most striking thing Isadora noticed upon waking was that she felt no rush to continue her travels. Though her journey had a purpose, she sensed that slowing her pace might invite unexpected gifts. She requested Wren's blessing to stay another day, wanting to explore the local forests and understand more about the customs that inspired such simple yet powerful traditions. Wren agreed with kindness, offering to show her a nearby grove where the holly grew in abundance and where the snowfall felt softer and more silent than anywhere else. They stepped outside, boots crunching on the thin layer of fresh snow. Long, slanting rays of morning light peered through the trees. The air was crisp, and each breath illuminated in tiny puffs. In the daylight, the bells around the cottage glinted like small ornaments, but they were mostly quiet now, waiting for the breeze to give them voice. The holly wreath, newly arranged, was hung on the cottage door. It offered a welcome symbol to anyone passing by, that within these walls warmth and calm could be found. Their walk led them through gently sloping trails lined with snow-covered pines. Every so often, Wren paused to brush aside a branch and reveal a patch of green. In these hidden spots, resilient holly thrived, its red berries popping against the pure white of winter. Gathering only what they would use, they filled a simple bag with sprigs, mindful not to disturb the delicate ecosystem. This measured care mirrored the soft approach they took with all tasks, a mindful awareness that nature would flourish for generations if gently respected. Isadora felt her mind slipping into a pleasant drift. She listened to Wren speak of local legends and personal memories, but a part of her simply relished the near silence of the forest. The crunch underfoot, the distant caw of a crow, and the soothing hum of her own breath created a tapestry of stillness and harmony. At one point, Wren gently pointed out the tracks of a small deer leading away toward a more sheltered glade. They shared a smile at the thought of that gentle creature, silently padding through the winter world, leaving fleeting footprints in the snow. After their gathering was complete, they made their way back to the cottage. Though the sun was higher now, the day remained cool and serene. In the distance, smoke curled lazily from a few village chimneys, a sign that others were also waking to the winter day. Back inside, they removed their coats, shook off stray snowflakes, and returned to the welcoming heat of the hearth. For a time they worked quietly on new wreaths, Isadora learning the subtle technique of weaving the branches without snapping them, Wren patiently guiding her hands when the leaves proved stubborn. Eventually, as the afternoon sunlight slanted through the windows, they took a break for warm tea. Cozy steam rose from their cups as they let conversation wander. Wren described how, on certain nights, the moon rose with a particular brilliance, illuminating every snowy branch. So clearly it felt like entering a realm of enchantment. On those nights, villagers would sometimes venture out to hear the bells echo through the forest. They might walk quietly, pausing now and then to gaze at the faint silhouettes of deer, or to admire the glimmer of starlight dancing upon untouched drifts of snow. In turn, Isadora shared stories of her own homeland, describing rolling hills dotted with pine forests, harvest festivals in the fall, and a tradition of candlelit gatherings in small chapels. She admitted she had rarely thought of these practices until hearing Wren's gentle reflections. The quiet sincerity of this place seemed to revive treasured memories, and and she found herself longing to carry that sense of calm back to her own community. Outside, the daylight began to fade once more, and the chill of evening settled in. Wren lit a few small lanterns inside the cottage, their glow gilding the edges of the wooden walls. Each flicker highlighted the evergreen decorations draped on the mantel. Occasionally, a swirl of wind outside would stir the bells, sending a muffled tinkle through the windows. The two companions prepared a simple dinner, root vegetables cooked with fragrant herbs, and ate in comfortable silence, each sip of warm broth adding to the sense of comfort. Night came softly. The moon rose, peeking through a thin veil of clouds, its pale light trailing across the snow. Isadora felt a stir of excitement, remembering Wren's mention of moonlit walks. She asked if they might venture out just to see the bells in their natural setting. Wren agreed, pointing to a row of cloaks and boots. And there was something distinctly peaceful about stepping outside into the crisp air once darkness had settled in. The hush was deeper than it had been during the day, and the forest exhaled a soft welcome. They walked a short distance from the cottage, following a gently lit path. Overhead, the branches reached out like dark lace against the sky. Every now and then, the moon emerged from behind the clouds, casting a cool, luminous glow across the ground. Around them, the bells Wren had hung throughout the wooded edge chimed faintly. Each gust of wind brought a delicate cascade of tones like ripples on a still pond. Isadora stood still, her senses soaking in every element. She watched her breath form small clouds that lingered in the air before disappearing. She noticed the faint outline of distant treetops bending in the breeze. She heard the subtle squeak of snow under her boots, a quiet chorus to accompany the drifting bells. In that moment, she felt more present than she had in a long time. The burdens of her journey, the expectations she placed upon herself, all seemed to dissolve, replaced by gratitude for the simple magic unfolding around her. Wren guided her to a small clearing. There they beheld a truly tranquil sight. Rows of silver-limbed pines gently swaying in the moonlight, each branch adorned with a tiny bell. Now and then, a breath of wind seemed to pass through them all at once, creating a soft, chiming echo, as though the night itself were singing a lullaby. Their eyes shone with wonder. Beneath the gentle canopy of bells, it felt as though time stretched out, letting them exist in this calm pocket of serenity for as long as they needed. Eventually, with chilled noses and content hearts, they returned to the cottage. The door welcomed them with warmth, and the amber glow of the hearth invited them to rest. The holly wreath on the table had been joined by a few new ones, each a quiet testament to the afternoon's work. Soft lamplight revealed the texture of the woven branches. Isadora found herself tracing the shapes of the leaves and berries with her fingertips, marveling at how something so simple could carry such a comforting presence. As the evening wore on, gentle tiredness again soothed Isadora's limbs, she excused herself, thanking Wren for the hospitality. Slipping away to the small alcove, she laid down beneath the covers, her body supported by the soft mattress. The flicker of the hearth danced along the edges of her vision, and she heard Wren quietly humming as the last few embers of the fire were coaxed into a steady glow. The slow, rhythmic chime of a bell occasionally reached her ears, but it was so faint that it seemed to be part of her own breathing. Soon she drifted into a deep, restful sleep. The next morning arrived in gentle pastel shades. The snow outside glistened with a faint sparkle, and the sky hinted at a clearer day ahead. Isadora stretched, feeling the renewal that only comes from a peaceful night's rest. She and Wren shared another simple breakfast, embracing the unhurried pace of this secluded world. It had been her intention to leave that day, yet her departure felt bittersweet. She had come to cherish the stillness of the cottage, the lullaby of the bells, and the faint evergreen fragrance of the holly. Wren, sensing her hesitation, reassured her that the forest's magic was not confined to this particular patch of land. The spirit of calm, gratitude, and gentle attentiveness to life's subtleties could be carried in one's heart wherever they might travel. Encouraged by that kindness, Isadora decided she would indeed move on, bringing these lessons along with her. She gathered her belongings, slipping a small holly wreath into her satchel. An offering from Wren, meant to remind her of this peaceful place. As she stepped outside, the bells on the porch tinkled a soft farewell. She turned once more to catch Wren's eye, sharing a thankful smile. Then she set off toward the village road with an unhurried step and a lightness in her chest. Behind her, the smoke rising from the cottage chimney curled gently against a pale blue sky, and the faint chiming of bells lingered in her memory. Not long after Isadora's departure, Wren remained content in the familiar routine of the winter cottage. There was wood to be gathered, soup to be stirred, wreaths to be woven. The bells would continue their soft, musical presence, greeting every gust of wind with a lilting hush. Visitors would come and go, some staying only for a warm meal, others lingering for days to share stories by the fire. And through it all, the cozy glow of the hearth and the sweet essence of holly would remind everyone who entered that peace can be found in the simplest of moments. Indeed, the magic of the place was never in grand gestures or loud celebrations. Instead, it dwelled in the gentle, unassuming notes of life's quieter rhythms, a friend's welcoming smile, the rustle of leaves in a light breeze, the hush of snowfall on an evergreen branch, the glow of a single candle in the window, guiding travelers home. Here, the moonlit bells and holly wreaths stood as gentle emblems of comfort and renewal, all the more powerful for their subtlety. Now, as the story winds down, feel the soft hush of this wintry realm in your own body. Notice the sense of ease that has settled into your bones. Each breath you take is like a whisper on the wind, steadily lulling you deeper into relaxation. Let the image of that cozy cottage fill your mind's eye, the warm hearth, the gentle chimes, and the wreaths of holly symbolizing quiet hope. Imagine the snow outside, shimmering under moonlight, carrying the echo of small bells across the still air. With each exhale, release any tension that might linger in your muscles. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw loosen, and the space between your eyes soften. If any thoughts drift through your mind, allow them to pass without grasping. Like the chiming of a distant bell, they float gently away, leaving calm in their wake. Feel the weight of your body supported by your resting place. Envision yourself enveloped in a soft, warm blanket of tranquility, as though you are curled up before the fireplace in that stone-walled cottage. Perhaps you can almost hear the crackle of the fire, sense the faint aroma of burning wood, or see the subtle glow dancing on the holly wreath. Let this sense of comfort cradle you as you sink further into rest. There is no need to hurry. The night is patient, and you have all the time you need to find your path into a deep and restorative sleep. Trust the gentle rhythms of your breath, each inhale drawing in serenity, each exhale sending you deeper into a place of pure stillness. You have journeyed through the moonlit forest, heard the bells sing on the breeze, and felt the warmth of the fireside. Now it is time to let your body and mind settle fully into the realm of slumber. Allow the gentle magic of the holly and bells to soothe you into a peaceful night's rest, carrying the memory of this cozy tale with you as you drift away. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well, and may your dreams be soft and serene.